Seed three, entice them. As part of my show display, I always have 2 full-size premium warmers, 2 plug-ins, and a bar of wax. And I let them know that if they host a $400 party, they're going to get everything in this display, plus not 1 bar of wax, but 12 for $45. There's another seed that you've planted. We are women. We like deals. What woman doesn't want a deal? If she can get all that for $45, you trust me, she's thinking about this now. We can't resist a deal. Seed 4, seal the deal. By now you've got them thinking. I also let them know at this point about my basket parties. I let them know that if they don't want to clean their house and fix snacks, a basket party is always an option. But remember, we are a home party business. You're not going to build that bond with someone based on a basket party sitting in an office break room. They're not going to see your face. They're not going to hear your voice. So there's no loyalty built that way. So the home party is the way to go. Use the basket parties to fill in those empty dates on your calendar, or if you just can't get that person to commit to a home party. I have one hostess who every 3 months, like clockwork for the last 4 years, basket party. I'm not going to turn her down. That's the way she wants to do it, and it works for her. So as your guests check out, have your calendar ready, and ask them if they'd like to host a party. At this point, you don't have to be pushy because you've already planted the seeds. So we've picked up the phone, we've got our bookings, we've planted the seeds, and we feel good about ourselves. Our business grows, our income increases. 4 years ago, I was just a grandmother from Indiana, working for someone else with mounds of debt from raising those 7 kids that you saw in that opening photograph. Today, they're all raised and gone. Thank you, God. It's just him and me and the deaf Cocker Spaniel. And I take him on fabulous Scentsy vacations. He thinks I can't get rid of him. When I earned this latest incentive trip, my one son said, "You're taking him again?" And I said, "I can't get rid of him now." Now he thinks he's got to go on all of them. So. And it's all because I took that leap of faith 4 years ago and pressed that button and spent that $99. Will we experience rejection? Yes. Will there be times we feel discouraged and overwhelmed? Yeah. Any of us who lived through the software upgrade in the fall of 2009? Yeah. I cried every night for a couple of weeks. Never thought I would get through it. Will we have amazing aha moments? I can guarantee it. For me, the first one was sailing up next to that glacier on my first incentive trip. And then it was...
You can do it!
Standing atop of an active volcano in Hawaii with my dog. And then seeing the look on his face in Boston as he took in the history of Fenway Park for the first time on the Beantown Bash. So I remember a few years ago talking to Orville and Heidi at a leadership retreat, and I tearfully thanked them for everything that they'd given me. And Heidi, who always cries, grabbed me by the hand tearfully and said, "It was not them, it was me." And I've never forgotten those words. So I think I'm talking and forgetting to clap. So anyway, don't let anybody tell you you can't do this. It's within you, trust me. And in the words of Vincent van Gogh, if you hear a voice within you say you cannot paint, then by all means paint. And that voice will be silenced. That's it. Thank you.
Bob, tell him to get the camera. Because Erin has flowers for her.
Now, I've asked our speakers to hang out a little bit here because if you remember, we sent out a survey to all of you saying, what are some of the things you'd like to learn at Spring Sprint? And so I looked across your answers to that question last night and I picked out a few questions that I'm going to ask each of the speakers after they speak, kind of like a mini Q&A. Now, I noticed that the questions I picked out, I think that Patty covered them already. But for sake of ceremony, let's go through it anyway. By the way, I was here in 2009. And we cried too, just so you know.
Oh my God.
Matter of fact, I tell a story at boot camp when...
it was my first holiday season.
I picked up we were all answering phones because you were all calling in.
And you'd sit on hold for like an hour and a half. You think waiting now for a consultant support for 2 minutes is bad?
Orville's going to love that we're bringing this up. I pick up the phone, and the consultant on the other end says, "You are Satan."
I didn't do that.
And I was like, "Have you been talking to my wife?" Kind of broke the ice.
I never did that.
All right, here's your questions.
I'm ready.
This is from Nicole Jackson. She's here.
Is she here?
What is the best way to get guests involved in a home party?
Get them involved.
And she specifically asked, what's your favorite, most effective game?
She asked about, and I don't play games. So, most effective thing. I just use that roll of the dice, and that always kind of breaks the ice. Rolling that dice, getting them to write that number at the top of the page. But yeah, I'm not a game player. Never have been. So, but for me, I use one example. I have one customer that comes to a lot of my parties, and her husband's a doctor. And so they're always on the run. And sometimes he'll just drive up, drop her, she'll run in, order exactly what she wants. She knows she can do that because she knows that's my format. If she thought that for a minute that she had to come and sit for 2 hours and sit in a circle and pass things around, she would bypass the party altogether. So that's what my customers have come to know from me, and that's what works.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How does one successfully market 3 brands at the same time?
I do sell all 3 brands, but Scentsy Fragrance is my baby. It's been there for the 4 years for me. It's my strength. I do sell Volata. I've done several events with Volata. I've done a couple of parties. For me, when I go out to people's homes, we get invited somewhere for game night or a tailgate party. I bring my Volata so that others can see it. As for Grace Adele, I carry a Grace Adele purse everywhere I go. I have 5 daughters and 1 daughter-in-law, and every one of them carries a Grace Adele purse as of Christmas Eve. So they are my... In fact, they all open them up to a screaming binge at the end of the night, and my husband said, "Is that like the fireworks at the grand finale fireworks at the end of the 4th of July?" Yeah, that was it. So they are my walking, talking billboards, my daughters and my daughter-in-law with their Grace Adele purses. So I do find that the Grace Adele parties I do are much bigger than my Scentsy parties, but I don't do a lot. I do have one coming up in a couple weeks, so I'm excited about that.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
That's it. Thank you.
Let's give her one more hand.